So hi guys, so for today's video, we will know the rules of the ultimate or the Frisbee. So before that, let's have first a short clip video for the introduction of this game. So for the rules of the Frisbee, okay, the rule number 1 is this: the spirit of the game. So the spirit of the game is first is this game or the ultimate is a non-contact. Ibig sabihin is a self-officiated sport. Ibig sabihin is hindi siya as in dikit-dikit na laro, and every player are far to each other. So all players are responsible for administering and adhering to the rules. So the spirit of the game places the responsibility for fair play. So ibig sabihin dapat all players had the responsibility para maging patas yung laro. So every selected players are trusted the most na hindi nila mabibreak yung rules ng game na to. So there are harsh of penalties for the advertisement of the breaches. So may mga penalties din pag halimbawa you are violated the rules. So players should be mindful sila and the fact that they are acting the referees in any arbitration between the teams. So every player must know the rules, especially kailangan nilang alamin or matutunan din yung rules before sila mag-play. Dapat maging fair-minded sila, maging open-minded, big sabihin, they know what should be the right thing to do in this game. Yun siya. Be truthful, and especially yung mga point of view is dapat kailangan din nilang is i-consider mga point of view ng bawat kasamahan nila, bawat teams, yung ganon. So every players or every opponents had the halimbawa the time to speak or allow them to speak on their viewpoint. Especially kailangan din nilang i-consider yung mga words na sinasabi or yung mga body language, or yun siya, mga body language na ginagawa ng ibang player or ng mga opponents nila, kasi maybe that is their cultural belief, parang ganun. Kasi may mga sa laro kasi or mga players kasi minsan they have the different beliefs or different cultures. So big sabihin kailangan nilang i-consider din yun para nang sa ganun is andun pa rin yung spirit of the game, o big sabihin yung sportsmanship nila towards their opponent. So it resolve dispute as quickly as possible. They make rules consistent of manners throughout the game. So and this is this game or the spirit of the game also have the highly competitive play. So the highly competitive play is encouraged to this play. Ibig sabihin na hindi mo dapat i-consider yung halimbawa, for example, sa opponent mo is may mga pinsan ka doon, or for example may kapatid ka doon, so ibig sabihin hindi mo dapat never consider them or never sacrifice the mutual respect sa larong ito. Kasi the game is dito sa larong ito is magiging joy, player safety, or the basic joy of play of the game. So ibig sabihin kailangan mong maging patas din. Yun nga sabi kanina is maging fair play po tayo dito sa larong ito. So the following actions are example for a good spirit, or may papakita mo yung mga sportsmanship mo towards your opponent. For example is nag-complement kit na ikaw na player is you're complimenting to them. They are the good, if they had the good play ano siya, or else they have the good spirit of playing the game. And another is you are introducing yourself to your opponents. Ibig sabihin nagpapakita lang yun na you have that positive mindset, nagiging open-minded ka. Ibig sabihin you are a sportsmanship person or player. Another is in every disagreement or mga thoughts na sinasabi nila, which is minsan is nagdi-disagree ka, ibig sabihin you need to react calmly towards them, towards their provocation. So para nang sa ganun is magiging may papakita pa rin yung sportsmanship o yung spirit ng game natin. So team or the following actions, so every actions na nababiolate din is had the kailangan is every actions of violation had to be avoided, especially yung mga dangerous play and aggressive behavior natin. So intentional falling or other intentional rules, which is celebrating disrespectfully after scoring. Ayan, nagsi-celebrate na ng mga yung halimbawa, for example is pag natalo kayo, ibig sabihin yung hindi mo tinanggap yung score ninyo, tapos sige na kayo istorya of negative, labas ng negative. So kailangan ma-avoid yon para you have that na hindi mo nalalabag yung mga yung mga rules, or yes, yung mga rules ng game na to. So next is the team. So teams are guardians of the spirit of the game. So teams, ibig sabihin is individual or each player must have the rule of taking the responsibility to teach their players to have the para ma-fulfill yung rules natin, or to easily understand the rules and have that good spirit. Yun siya. So every team or teams have also the disciplines. Kailangan sa teams is kailangan disiplinado din tayo sa paglalaro. Who display sports spirit, so kailangan we have that discipline in playing. Kasi importante yun sa laro. Kapag hindi ka disiplinado, ibig sabihin siguro maybe you will have or you will be violated some rules of the game. And so very important ang discipline dito. So provide constructive feedback to other teams about what they are doing well and how to improve their adherence to the sport. Kailangan is halimbawa ikaw na player, kailangan sa team mo kung halimbawa nagkamaling isa, kailangan you need to encourage or you need to kumbaga sabihan mo sila ba para nang sa ganun is mas ma-improve pa yung kanilang skills, especially para mas ma-develop pa more yung spirit of the games nila, yung sportsmanship nila. Kasi halimbawa kung sa discipline sila is very weak sila, kumbaga ikaw na player din or kasama nila sa team is kapag gano'n na nakita mo sa kanya is kailangan i-lift up mo siya. Ibig sabihin, tutulungan mo siya in order for him or her para magkaroon ng sportsmanship pa din siya in playing this game. So, kailangan ng sportsmanship. So, it is very important in playing talaga. So, in case where novice or player is involved in breach and does not know the rules, experienced player should assist to explain the breach. So, another is, for example, pag may mga baguhan na player, o ikaw na may experience, ikaw na nakakaalam ng rules, you need to assist them to explain kung ano yung mga things needed to do sa larong ito. So, experienced player who offers advice on rules and guides in field arbitration may supervise games involving beginners of younger players. So, yung mga, sabi ko nga, yung mga naka-experience na ng laro na ito, ibig sabihin, they have the authority to advise. Kumbaga, they have the authority to advise kung ano yung mga rules, to guide them, and to assist them in para maging further pa more yung learnings nila towards this game. So, calls should be discussed by the players directly involved in the play and by players who had the best perspective on play. So, kailangan also everyone or every player had the best perspective on play. Ibig sabihin, each individual, kumbaga, each individual or each player can have or can show or can present or discuss them directly sa laro. Kumbaga, they can share their thoughts in the play. So, player and captains are solely responsible for making the resolving of calls. So, yung mga players and the captains, ibig sabihin, they have the responsibility to solve or to make the calls solely. They have their solely responsible. So, next is after discussion, players cannot agree or it is not clear and obvious. So, that's it. So, okay, next is the playing field. Yan siya. So, next is the playing field. So, sa playing field is rectangular area siya with the dimensions and zone as shown as, mamaya papakita ko sa inyo yung ating measurement of the playing field. So, ayan siya. Makikita natin mamaya and I will present to you the different or the measurement of this area in playing the Frisbee or the ultimate. Okay, next is the equipment. So, sa equipment, in any flying discs are acceptable to both captains may be used. So, yung mga WFDF may maintain a list approved discs recommended for use. So, each player must wear or also uniform that distinguish their team. So, sa equipment, kailangan talaga ng uniform bawat teams kasi kapag halimbawa, kapag difference or iba-iba yung mga uniforms nyo is you will not identify kung saang team ka talaga. So, it is necessary and it's needed to have the uniform to distinguish their team. So, no player may wear items of clothing or equipment that reasonably could harm the wearer or other players or impede an opponent's ability to play. So, hindi pwede na yung mga players is they wear some of the equipment that is very harmful or harmful sa kanila, especially sa kanilang opponent. So, ganun siya. So, hindi yun siya pwede. Next, the section 4 or the rule number 4 is the point and goal and game. So, game consists of numbers of points. So, sa laro, big sabihin may points din dito siya. So, each point ends with the scoring of goal. So, a game is finished and won by the first team to score 15 goals. So, kailangan, di ba, sa Frisbee kasi is parang may pagka-the-same sila sa futsal, like that. May mga goals din sila. So, sa first, the game finish, mananalo ang isang team pag nakascore sila ng 15 goals. And the game is separated into 2 periods of play. The called halves. Siya. So, halftime occurs when a first team scores 8 goals. So, sa first, sa game na to is separated, may 2 periods. Ibig sabihin, the halftime, ibig sabihin, sa halftime dito is dapat maka-score sila ng 8 points or 8 goals. Yan siya. So, the first point of each half starts with the half starts. So, after goal is scored, and the game has not been won or half has not been at reach, the next point is started immediately. So, the team switch and zones and they are the defending. the team that scores becomes defense and pulls next. So, big sabihin, kapag hindi pa rin sila naka-points sa first half, or hindi na-achieve yung 8 goals, big sabihin, ang mananalo dito is yung pinakamalaki yung scores nila in every time. Ganun siya. In every period. So, next is the section 5 is the team. So, teams, each team will put a maximum of 7 teams. So, each team is mayroon lang na 7 players and a minimum of 5 players sa field during each point. So, sa laro is either 5 players or either 5 or 7 players. Minimum of 7 and maximum of 5 players na siya ang pwedeng maglaro sa field. So, each team must designate a captain and a spirit captain to represent the team. So, sa team, kailangan may captain sila and then spirit of the captain. So, dalawa. Yan siya. So, a team may make ultimate substitution after the goal. Goal is scored and before the team signals readiness for the foot. Next is the starting of a game. Starting a game. So, starting a game is represents of the two teams fairly determine which team first choice either whether to receive or throw the initial ball or which end zone they will initially defend. So, each team is kailangan may mag-choices sila kung they will be the receive or yung throw or they will end zone with initially defend. So, other team is given the remaining choice. So, every team is have the choices to do or to how they start the game. So, and at the start of the second half, these initial selections are switched. Next is the rule number 7 is the pool. At the start of the game, after halftime or after a score, play commences with a throw by the defense. So, called yung pool. So, the teams must prepare for the pool without the unreasonable delay. So, dito sa poll is, it made only after teams have signaled their readiness by having the puller and the player on offense raise hands above their head. So, after signaling, readiness of all offensive players must stand with one foot on their defending goals line without changing location relative to one another until the pool is released. So, in the team branches or 7.3 or 7.4, the opposing team may call a violation of the offside. Thus, this must be or called before the offense touches the desk in 7.8 still applies. Gina-mention ko din siya is 7.3, ibig sabihin sabi dito is after signaling the readiness of all offensive players must stand with one foot on their defending goals. So 7.4 is after signaling readiness, all defensive players must keep their feet entirely behind the vertical plane of the goal line until the ball is released. So 7.8 sabi doon is the offensive player is bounds or out of bounds touches the desk before it hits the ground, and the offensive team falls to subsequently established position that is turned over. So next is the state of play. So state of play is dead and no turnover is possible. So after start of the point until the ball is released, when the desk must be carried to the pivot location after the pull or a turnover until a pivot point is established. So, after a call which stops the play or any stoppage until the desk is checked in or after the desk is hits the ground until the possessions established by the appropriate team. So, players are allowed to move during the play or dead play or unless specified by the turnover or otherwise. So, play that is not dead is alive. Kapag ang play it's not dead, ibig sabihin that is alive. So a thrower may not transfer possessions of the desk during dead play to another player. So any player may attempt to stop the desk. So individual, so each player they had they have the chance to stop the desk from rolling or sliding after it had hit the ground. So after a turnover and after the pull, an offensive player must move on walking pace or faster and directly retrieve the desk and establish a pivot point. So next is the stool count. The stool count is the marker administrators a stool count on the thrower by announcing or yung stalling, yan siya. And then counting from 1 to 10, yan siya. The interval between the start of each number in the stall count must list 1 second lang siya. So the stall count must clearly communicated to the thrower. So yung stall count kailangan know or kailangan may communication na nagaganap doon. So the marker may start only continue stall count when halimbawa is the ball is the play is alive or until the pivot established from turnover. So they are within the 3 meters of the thrower's pivot point or the pivot locations of the thrower is not the location and all defenders are legally positioned. Another is if the marker moves beyond the appropriate 3 meters radius or different players becomes the marker, the stall count must be restricted or the stalling one. So after the stoppage in play ball or play the stall count and resumes, itutulay siya. So to start at stall count, a maximum where n is determined by 9 and siya by means the following. So if x is the last agreed number fully altered or uttered prior to the call, when the stall count resumes at the stalling or stalling whenever of those number is lower. Next is the section 10 is the check. So whenever play stops during a point for a foul, violation contested turnover, specified turnover, contested goal, stoppage, discussion, or the completions of the timeout, play must start as quickly as possible with the check. So the check may only be delayed for the discussion of the call. So minsan nadi-delay din yung mga check natin or pag check natin sa laro natin or ganun, it because of the discussions of the call. So player positioning after a call except in the case of timeout and unless specified otherwise. So a player may briefly extend a stoppage of play to fix faulty equipment. So, but active play but not be stopped for this purpose. So prior to the check, the person checking the desk in the nearest position or opposition player must verify that their own teammates are ready and positions as position. So kailangan after you check the person in the desk in, kailangan ma-verify mo muna yung teammates mo kung ready ba siya to catch or in position ba siya to throw or to catch. Parang kailangan talaga is you need to have to check every action, every movement of your teammates, especially each players. Yun siya. To restart play with a check. So when the thrower has the desk, yun siya. Next is when the desk is on the ground, the defender nearest to the desk called desk in. So a player may call a violation regarding the check of if an opponent is attempt to pass without an appropriate check as check. It restarts play without verification from the nearest opposition player or is moving immediately prior to the check was not in appropriate position. So after this violation, call any pass does not recount regardless of whether it is complete or incomplete and position reverts back to the thrower.